When you're scrolling through a sea of Pilates reformers, the real question that keeps you up at night isn't, how many springs does it have? Or, what's the max load rating? It's whether the machine you bring home will actually sit comfortably in your living room, stay steady during a sweaty set of leg circles, and give you enough bang for the buck so you don't end up regretting that impulse buy. You want something reliable, easy to live with, and worth the money, not just a product with a long feature list. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the past few weeks talking to a handful of Pilates instructors, scrolling through forums where home studio owners vent about squeaky rails and wobbling frames, and even borrowing a friend's secondhand reformer to see what makes a decent machine feel solid versus a cheap copy. The consensus is simple. The reformer that works for a studio with a dedicated space often feels like a different animal when you try to squeeze it into a two-bedroom apartment. That's why today's focus is less about the headline specs and more about the everyday reality of living with a wood Pilates bed in a home gym. First off, the Pilates Store reformer is built around a solid wood carriage that runs on a set of metal rails. In practice, the wood gives the platform a warm, stable feel that you'll notice immediately when you hop on for a footwork series. Unlike the plastic-topped models that can creak under a simple plank, the wooden surface stays quiet, which is a blessing if you have downstairs neighbors or a baby napping in the next room. The rails glide smoothly thanks to the built-in rollers, and during the testing phase, I found the motion to be consistent from the first rep to the last, without the occasional stutter that some cheaper reformers exhibit after a few minutes of use. Now, let's talk about the practical side of daily usability. The machine folds down to a relatively compact footprint, but it's not a pop-up piece you can store in a closet. You'll need a dedicated corner, roughly the length of a queen-size bed, and a ceiling height of at least 8 feet to accommodate the full range of motion for long springs and high leg lifts. If you're living in a studio apartment where every inch is accounted for, you'll probably end up compromising on other furniture. For people who already have a spare room or a garage-converted workout space, the size is a non-issue and actually feels generous. There's enough room to attach accessories like a box or a Pilates chair without feeling cramped. One of the biggest hidden trade-offs with any home reformer is the spring system. The Pilates model comes with a set of interchangeable springs that let you dial the resistance from a light rehab setting all the way up to a strength training challenge. In theory, that sounds perfect for a mixed-use household where one person might be recovering from an injury while another is trying to sculpt their glutes. In reality, swapping springs isn't something you do every session. You'll usually pick a resistance range and stick with it for a while. The downside is that the springs are attached via a metal bracket that, while sturdy, can become a little finicky if you keep adjusting them. After a month of frequent changes, the bracket's lock started to feel a bit loose, so you'll want to keep an eye on that and tighten it periodically. If you're wondering about the actual workout experience, the reformer delivers where it counts. The carriage moves in a fluid, almost buttery motion that lets you focus on form rather than fighting the machine. I tried a classic elephant stretch, a series of kneeling side splits, and even a full long box routine. Each exercise felt anchored. The platform didn't wobble, and the foot bar stayed in place, even when I added a weighted vest for extra resistance. For anyone doing rehabilitation work, say, post-knee surgery or lower back therapy, the consistent glide is a huge plus because it reduces the risk of sudden jerks that could aggravate an injury. That said, the machine doesn't come with any digital tracking or built-in resistance meters. So if you're a data-driven athlete who likes to log exact spring tension, you'll need an external notebook or app. Who should buy this reformer? If you're a regular Pilates practitioner who wants a studio-grade feel at home, the wood carriage and smooth rails make it a solid choice. It's especially appealing for families where multiple members have different fitness goals. The interchangeable springs let a teenager work on core strength while a parent focuses on gentle rehab. The machine also scores high on durability. Wood doesn't warp easily, and the metal rails hold up to daily use without showing rust or corrosion. For those who value a quiet workout, the wooden platform is a standout. No squeaks, no rattles, just the sound of your own breathing. Who should skip it? If you're living in a tiny one-bedroom flat with less than 6 feet of clearance,